So not too far at all.
No, no. We try to make Waco our second home. Where my wife actually she's family's 3 generations deep, Baylor Bears. So we run a tailgate out there, and we're there every home game. So I was telling Scotty earlier, man, we'd love to host you guys. If you're out there, stop by the tailgate.
Oh, dude, I'm in. I'm in. If I'm in town, I don't have a game, I'm in. I appreciate your support, and I respect your knowledge. I remember last week, you've always had me with like your quick hitters, but last week when you said we were talking about Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson in Dallas in the taco place, what was it? And you said you knew the name of the place where they had a secret rendezvous, which was uncovered by the Dallas Morning News. What was it called?
It's Mia's.
That's it.
It's on Lemon Avenue, and man, we've just been long-time patrons for the last 30 or 40 years. And there was a guy that had the center section of the restaurant there named Manny, and some people might know Manny's Tex-Mex. That's kind of where that was born. But Manny was Butch's nephew and worked at Mia's for years and years and years. And that table where they were sitting was in Manny's section, and Manny actually waited on them.
Unbelievable.
So that's cool.
So are you connected by marriage to Baylor, or did you go to Baylor?
I went to Baylor,
okay.
96 to 2000.
Okay, cool. So you were right there before Scott Drew. I want to get your take on what's going on now with Baylor basketball, because I have said, and you have heard what I've said, but I don't mind what's happening this year with Baylor as they approach the postseason, because I do feel like they're due for a year to somewhat sneak up on some people, right? So Scott Drew can really do what he does as a coach, and they have the horses, obviously undermanned without Josh O. But how do you feel about Baylor's postseason chances as a dark horse?
Man, I think what's getting lost in a little bit of this is, I know it's frustrating from the standpoint of looking at the success that they've had in the past. But throughout the season, I think there has been slight progression. If you really look at it, there's been progression through kind of the cohesion of the team. I think the cohesion of the staff, but I think it's slower progression than everybody would like. So I do see a possibility where they could get out of the first weekend of the tournament, but unless some things really change, I just don't see him going any further than that. For instance,
that's kind of where I am. That's kind of where
let me ask you, do you think at this time, who do you think is dealing better with the changes in kind of NCAA athletics regarding NIL, paying players, recruiting out of the transfer portal, Aranda or Coach Drew?
Wow, that's a really good question. I would say Aranda, and here's why. Because he has an army behind him helping him. I think football is a little different. I think Scott Drew is always going to be your ace, recruiting guys, getting to know them, earning the trust of their family, and getting them to campus. I think that Dave Aranda understands who he is and knows he doesn't have that skill set, right, that Scott Drew has, and he's able to manifest his roster through help from others. Scotty wants to get in on this one. I can tell he's dying over here.
I could not disagree with you more. And here's what Aranda and Drew have in common. They both pay too much to players that aren't panning out. So who was Baylor football's highest paid transfer this last year? DeQuan Finn. And then I not ripping on the kid, but I think we probably paid quite a pretty penny for Jeremy Roach. And turns out that the freshman we got was a better point. So just being honest there, I don't think either are perfect. But Drew and Brian will know this. Drew has been a wizard at getting good transfers since a decade before NIL and transfer portal.
Okay.
I mean, Pierre Jackson came out of JUCO and was the best point guard in the Big 12, right? Like he got Mekhi Mason to come over from Yale. After Yale upset Baylor in the tournament, he gets Mason to come play for Baylor. So Drew was already a wizard at the transfer thing. And I will say, I think it's a lot easier to go find 3 really, really gifted basketball players who want to come to your school than try to find 15, 20 football players to fill a roster, right? It's a different beast.
But conversely, you could say that there's more opportunity to find diamonds in the rough with football, because there's a certain amount of guys who everyone has zeroed in on with basketball. And I think with football, because it's such a team sport.
And I guess that's what I'm saying is Drew has been finding diamonds in the rough that nobody else would recruit for 20 years. Go watch Brian. Brian can help me out. Brian, how do you describe Pierre Jackson to someone?
I know Pierre Jackson.
Nobody, he was not on anybody's radar.
I'll stop you right there. This Scotty doesn't know this.
Let's go.
So when I was doing the Springfield Armor in what was called the NBA D League at the time.
I remember.
Our first game was against the Idaho Stampede, and Pierre Jackson must have scored 40 points.
Yeah.
And I'd heard of him a little bit. The dude was unbelievable. And then
so good.
So that was my first experience with him, and that was 10 years ago. So, and then the other night, Grant McCaslin was on Jim Rome. This is just a tip of the cap to Pierre Jackson. And Jim Rome was asking Grant McCaslin about his team and about players. And somehow or the other, Grant McCaslin went right to Pierre Jackson and about how much joy and about the type of player that Pierre Jackson was. And he actually compared him to Darion Williams and just said, like, he's one of those guys who will just do anything. He loves ball. And the Pierre Jackson was his like go-to. You know,
he has a weird grip on anyone who watched him play because he was so unique. But no, he was a JUCO kid.
Yeah,
Drew just found. I don't know how Drew's the only coach who identified that talent, but he was. If you want more recent examples, like Davion Mitchell and Maceo Teague were transfers.
Yeah, Davion.
So Drew has been doing the transfer thing a long time. Yeah. Anyway,
let me ask you this regarding like both of these guys. Okay. We've heard, Drew's been playing with a certain culture, right? Culture of joy. And you haven't heard anybody, excuse my French, bitching and moaning about culture of joy being the wrong thing or anything like that. They've still been getting the transfers. They've still been getting the guys in the program. But what did you hear, Randa, person over player? Everybody was losing their minds over this because they weren't getting it. So, is there a little bit of a dichotomy with, hey, Scott Drew was the culture guy. Dave Aranda needed the, pay players aspect of the thing and needed to step back from his culture because Scott Drew had history behind him and Natty behind him and things like that.
No, I agree with you. I think that, and Dave Aranda, if there's one thing you can give him credit for, there's a lot you can give him credit for, but he was very quick to pivot off of the person over player and to own it. And so I had the opportunity. I was calling that first game against Tarleton, and we sat in a room with him, and he was like, "We got guys on our team that are walking around campus this season that there's no way I would have allowed them to be on our team because there was just too many outliers, and maybe they weren't the specific type of guy, person over player that I was looking for." And I'm not even saying that he made concessions for bad guys. There were just different types of players, right? That maybe didn't have the type of personal pedigree that he had recruited in the past.
And that ran all the way up to Mac Rhodes, because in interviews, Mac Rhodes is like, man, there are some guys out here that I would have liked to see on the team. And it's either the Board of Regents, Dave Aranda, combination of both, that, they wouldn't let those guys be part of the team.
No, I think a great example of this year's team, and the guy panned out, and there was a little dust up early on, but Michael Trigg is my favorite example. That's a guy who was just a super talent who I don't think would have had any business being on a part of the Baylor family, or I guess for the person over player type program that Aranda had put together maybe 2 years ago. And this year, he made some huge plays in some huge moments for Baylor.
He did.
All right, so I want to talk to you. Bear the truth. So so you got this business. I'm a huge pet guy. Okay, huge. I have to peel myself away from my dog every morning. And Scotty tells me that you have a pet supply business out of Rockwall. Tell me about this.
Yeah. So do you just have the one dog?
Yeah, I have one dog. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Scotty, what do you have pet wise?
I also have one dog.
Okay.
All right. So, man, this has been going on for about 20 years. We were in, I had this, well, thanks to Baylor, mechanical engineer. I started designing, think of Sterilite totes that are in the center aisle of Walmart, like the injection molds and all that stuff. So turned to product development pretty early. And I just had this crazy idea that everyone's using these stupid white plastic and metal, baby gates for dogs, or the kennels are the plastic ones that you put in the bed of your truck, and then they have them in their living room. So we made all this stuff out of furniture grade wood. So looks really like furniture, the gates and the kennels that look like end tables and all that stuff. We started that whole trend about 20 years ago. And, we've been at it ever since, expanding the line. We've got a full line of cat products called Panther Paws, but primarily it's, pet containment, along with some toys and treats and things along those lines. And we supply primarily people, brick and mortar wise, like your, PetSmarts and Petcos. And, we made a gate for Martha Stewart that was in PetSmart, and then online Amazons and stuff like that. And then we have a little bit of a website as well.
So do you do, and this is do you do sort of the ideas behind it, and sort of, like you said, like the engineering behind it, and your wife does, like, she adds like the accents and the designs? Is that, I'm guessing that?
Yeah, bro. So we have been working literally face to face since we got married 25 years ago. Same room, same office. It's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, I do all the product development. I do all the sourcing. I'm blessed enough to be able to go over to, Asia and Southeast Asia and Vietnam and Thailand and stuff like that, where some of the products are made, work with the factories to get the products over here. And then, a little bit of the, every owner of company wearing the CEO hat's also wearing the sales hat. So do a little bit of that as well.
So where can people find you? Give me the name of it. And, if people have, some pet stuff.
Yeah, man. The website, everybody shops on Amazon, and obviously you can find it there. But Petz is PETZ, like Zulu. So primetimepetz.com, or Amazon, Chewy, PetSmart, Petco, you name it. Wherever you like to shop, you can pick up some stuff. And feel free to hit us up on the phone. It is us that you're talking to when you have any questions or anything like that. So it's called, answer the phone, talk to customers.
Petz? Primetime Petz.
Primetime Petz, PETZ. Yes.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and join Scotty. I love your energy too. You're a great guy. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Man, I've got two more things for you. Okay,
go ahead.
Real quick. So I think that you and Christy pending nuptials, wedding coming up, you got a lot of entertaining to do. I think that there is a guy that is close to you that might appreciate a little bit of love, maybe do some catering of Scotty's Smoke Shack.
Scotty's losing it right now. Scotty, give me some context. What's happening here?
Did you know that I barbecue Pete?
I didn't know. So you
did you know that I've catered a wedding before?
Are you serious?
Totally have.
Smoking briskets, baby. Come on.
Totally have. I've done. I did a wedding where we fed 300 people smoked chicken tacos.
Yes.
And then
I'm just hearing about this.
And then see, Brian's bringing us together. We're becoming better friends today. All
right, man. So
I did 3 church events where I smoked. I think the smallest one I did 24 briskets, and the biggest one I did 40.
Lest anyone think I sit here with him and don't ask him questions all day. That's not true. Like, just so you, I asked this guy this stuff. I'm
just saying, if Brian's right, if you and Christy want barbecue, well, first of all, Hellberg has sponsored some high school athletics here on Rogue, so you could call Hellberg and pay them.
No, we're talking about you.
A boatload of money, but I could also do it.
Brian, what's the second thing?
Oh, man, I just wanted to shout out to Andrew Billings that you had on. I don't know how Scotty got him on. I grew up like you grew up in Philly. I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
And I know Billings got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Walter Payton, I mean, up to the time that Jared was about 5 years old, lived in, I kid you not, about a 2,200 square foot house down the street from me.
No way.
We used to ride our bikes down there, and he had a tablet in his garage with a pencil that said "From the desk of Walter Payton." Had a Bears insignia on it, and he would give autographs to all the kids that rode by. Okay, me and my buddy Sean Connolly used to babysit for Jared, so Walter and Connie could go out every once in a while. And I just wanted to shout out, hey man, great guy. The best award, in my opinion, in the NFL that anybody could get. And I'm happy to see that Andrew Billings got that. And, shout out to him. Shout out to Walter and the family. And
Brian, he's one of those guys. It's interesting. Is he not talked about enough? Because he was taken from us way too soon, like way too soon. And he was one of the most vicious runners I've ever seen. And I was prime time. Like you and I are probably around the same age. Like I was lucky enough as a kid to see him, in his prime. That was one of my first football, icons was Walter Payton.
Yeah. And I mean, with the respect that's given to him, I mean, in this part of the country, the respect that's given to him, it is from Emmitt Smith. Yeah. I mean, you ask him who the best running back is, there's no hesitation. He's like, it's Walter Payton.
Yeah.
100%. But, Walter, he got the rushing title, beat Jim Brown's rushing title. He was with Kangaroo Shoes. Kangaroo Shoes bought him, a poster that we probably had on our walls in our room, Lamborghini Countach, a black one. And he had it parked in front of that little house there for, about 6 months or so. And then after that, windfall cash, new contract, all that kind of stuff. And he moved off into the gated community where no one could get to him or anything like that. But it was fun for that period of time.
I bet. All right, Brian Boulden, man, thank you so much. Bear the truth, him as. And don't forget, Primetime Petz with a Z is where you can get all your pet supplies. Brian, man, thanks so much for hanging out.
Hey, man, you guys take it easy. You're kicking.
All right, man, take it easy, Brian. Amazing, dude. How about that, Scotty? Scotty, that's another home run for you this week.
I was going to say, this doesn't happen most weeks, but I think I'm 3 for 3 right now.
Oh, you are.
I think I'm 3 for 3.
All right, let's ruin it all. Allie Candlebar is coming up next. We're going to talk to her about the weather and some stuff that's going on locally here in Central Texas. Don't go anywhere. The Pete Souza Show presented by Slovacics. And maybe soon, Primetime Petz. We're always going to talk about them regardless. All right, take it easy. We'll be right back.